The opening scene features Heaven Incorporation, a business-like infrastructure that controls how Earth should operate. The infrastructure is run by the CEO, God, who is currently watching TV to keep tabs on the many horrible things happening on Earth, such as melting ice caps, deadly forest fires, and so on. He seems to have no interest in any of this news, but is drawn to a broadcast of NASCAR drivers who thank God for their victories. Due to his disheveled appearance and lack of productivity, his right-hand man Sanjay is quick to dismiss any important meetings, such as the one focused on ending all pain on Earth. The scene then cuts to the Department of Angel Resources, where a young woman, Eliza Hunter, is being transferred out of her current role in the Department of Dirt to a new job in the Department of Answered Prayers. She excitedly marches straight to her new department, where she meets Craig, who's been working there solo for thousands of years. It appears that he answers the easiest prayers possible and sends the ones stamped impossible to God, who ignores it as usual, as they're too hard to resolve. After introducing themselves, Craig briefs her on the rules they should follow while answering people's prayers. They can't act beyond the laws of nature. Regardless, while Craig goes out to answer more wish lists, Eliza answers a farmer's prayer for rain, unintentionally triggering a typhoon and endangering several lives of the Earthlings. Sensing the urgency, Eliza goes to God's chamber and asks him to help out the people on Earth. God seems to be so bored and fed up that he decides to blow up the entire planet and move on to other projects. This announcement sets all the employees into a panic, while the Department of Angel Resources starts referring their people to other galaxies. Eliza, who is against this plan, confronts God, questioning why he's doing so. He argues that prayers are so vague that it's impossible to fulfill. In response, Eliza proposes a bet. If she's able to answer one of the impossible prayers, God spares Earth. He agrees on the condition that if she fails to do so within 2 weeks, she'll have to eat a worm. Following this, she goes to explain her new assignment to Craig and invites him to discuss it over some burgers. Craig, thrilled to have a companion after years of solitude, agrees right away. Together, they go through numerous impossible stamped prayers in an attempt to choose the easiest one. Not long after, they come across a prayer of a boy and a girl, both of whom like each other but are unable to confess. As a result, Eliza and Craig decide to fulfill their wish to be together. In the next scene, God is watching an interview featuring an atheist, Bill Mayer, who is making misleading statements against religious beliefs. As a result, God instructs Sanjay to eliminate Bill right away. With no other choice, Sanjay agrees and discusses the ways to kill him, to which God instructs him to blow up Bill's penis. Following this, Sanjay goes to the Department of Genitals and orders the employees to blow up Bill's organ. Despite being confused at first, the employees agree to carry out the order. Back in the Department of Answered Prayers, Eliza and Craig are in the process of digging out more information about the boy and girl, Sam and Laura. They soon figure out that the two of them are 98% compatible, as they share the same likes and dislikes. They both share pollen allergies and love gyros. But, unfortunately, they are antisocial in nature, due to which they haven't communicated with each other since the night they met. This makes Eliza realize that a bold, divine intervention is needed to get the pair to meet again. Meanwhile, the employees in the genitals department unintentionally make Bill's organ more attractive, which frustrates God. Sanjay then decides to take the matter into his own hands. However, it's not that easy, because he must pump a machine 50,000 times to blow up Bill's package. Despite this setback, Sanjay somehow manages to complete the process, finally killing Bill. It's not quite as good as Tarantino's rendition, but it is funnier. On the other hand, Eliza comes up with a plan to injure both Sam and Laura, leading them to meet in the same hospital. However, Craig is hesitant to carry out such a risky plan and suggests that they find some other way out. Eliza, angered by Craig's reluctance, labels him a coward and storms off. He soon realizes his mistake and follows her to apologize, eventually reaching a compromise. The duo then devise another plan and somehow manage to bring Laura and Sam to a common restaurant under the pretense of gyros. Their plan seems to have worked out, as the pair ultimately exchanges phone numbers. From the very next day, the two start texting each other. Things appear great until Laura accidentally bumps into a dashing stranger, Mason, in a coffee shop that spins into instant attraction. They soon start conversing, which sets Eliza and Craig into a panic. The two bond so quickly that Mason takes her to a date after convincing her to skip work. During their outing in the park, Craig and Eliza attempt to sabotage their date by triggering a strong rainstorm. However, the rain makes Mason even more handsome, creating a romantic atmosphere. In the meantime, Sanjay is being interviewed by some TV reporters called Game Changers, where he boasts about his past accomplishments. In the midst of the interview, Sanjay is summoned by the spoon-feeding god to help him operate a microwave oven. Sanjay quickly teaches him the techniques and then returns to the news reporters. Simultaneously, God continues to make havoc for himself. He burns his hands and again calls Sanjay to spoon-feed him. At this point in time, the news reporter enters God's office and sees Sanjay doing the small chores, undermining his image. Later that day, Craig and Eliza are failing miserably on their mission, so they decide to seek help from Sanjay. The two approach him in his cabin, only to find him sobbing due to the earlier embarrassment. Upon learning about the incident, they manage to encourage Sanjay to prove his strength, convincing him to help them. After this, the trio start working on thwarting the developing relationship between Mason and Laura. At first, they figure out that Mason's father owns a large oil company, after which they destroy his oil ship, causing him to go bankrupt. As a consequence, Mason's father cuts off his pocket money, which makes him so mad that he uses curse words. Seeing his true colors, Laura finally loses her interest in him. She then returns home and texts Sam, bringing a smile to the latter's face. In the aftermath, Sanjay sees the case as beneficial for his career and chooses to continue working on it rather than returning to God. Craig is disappointed as he feels replaced in his duties. As days pass by, Eliza and Sanjay start working together on their mission, while Craig feels left out. One day, Sanjay shares details about his past life with colleagues, revealing that he was the leader of a historic empire. Eliza, in turn, discloses that she had been a fierce Nordic warrior who successfully overthrew an oppressive king from her country. The duo then press Craig to reveal about his past, to which he hesitantly does, showing that he was nothing more than a caveman. He sadly admits that he is not as cool as them. Now that Sanjay is working in the Department of Answered Prayers, another secretary named Rosie has to deal with God's annoying behavior. Unable to tolerate him, Rosie suggests that he talk to someone from Earth. She even chooses a guy named Dave, an eye surgeon who also plays guitar in a band on the weekends. God then uses his microphone to talk to Dave, who is initially frightened by the experience. In the interim, Rosie goes back to Sanjay and asks him to come back as she can't handle God. However, the latter refuses, so Craig, who seems to have started to feel alone again, decides to volunteer to be God's new wingman. Upon entering God's chamber, Craig sees him singing for Dave, but Dave, on the other side, goes to see a psychiatrist, thinking that he's gone crazy. God then orders Craig to hit Dave with a tornado so that the doctor can know about his true nature. When the tornado destroys his house, Dave finally confronts God and politely requests him to leave him alone, to which he unexpectedly agrees. Amidst all this, Sanjay manages to have Sam and Laura meet at a party through a mutual friend. As the pair awkwardly converse, Sanjay enhances their romance with some alcohol. Unfortunately, the dose becomes too much for them as they begin to feel dizzy. Unable to figure out their next step, Sanjay goes to get Craig back to help solve the issue. Following this, Craig rushes down to his former department and learns that the situation is about to get worse. To prevent the pair from drinking further, he uses his divine intervention to make the pair leave the party. As they walk back home, they finally plan to go on a date on Friday. Eliza and Sanjay are relieved by this and praise Craig's performance, making him feel good. However, their joy is short-lived as they learn that Sam's lovely grandma has less than 3 hours to live. Fearing that Sam might cancel his date due to his grandmother's imminent death, Sanjay suggests that they visit the Department of Death to keep her alive. Heeding to his advice, the trio heads there and requests that the department's supervisor give her a life extension. In return, the supervisor hands them a dead waiver form, asking them to have it signed by God, after which the granny's life will be extended by 100 days. With no alternative, the three rush upstairs and seek Rosie's assistance for the same. However, Rosie seems to have grown so unsatisfied with her current work that she's actually waiting for the Earth to explode. Amidst their conversation, she accidentally mentions that God is illiterate. This revelation strikes Eliza with an idea, and she decides to trick God into signing the form. Hearing this strategy, Craig is overwhelmed with nervousness, but the other two team members tell him to stay calm. The trio then enters God's chamber and presents the form, claiming it's a liquor license document. Tension fills the air as God reviews the form. Most of its effect is seen on Craig. Much to their relief, God agrees to sign it, confirming that he can't read. But just before signing it, Rosie enters and insists that she read the document first. While God steps away for a moment, Eliza tries to persuade Rosie to continue working for Heaven and help them in saving Earth. She also emphasizes her significance in the team, as she's the most talented employee here. This convinces Rosie, who then confirms the death waiver form as a licensing form. After obtaining God's signature, they immediately submit the form in the death department, successfully extending the granny's life. In the aftermath, Rose officially joins the team and is happy to finally have a meaningful job. With only 14 hours left before the Earth's imminent explosion, the team closely monitors Sam and Laura. Not long after, they learn that the pair is planning to go to a movie theater to watch a documentary on the sewer system. Realizing that it won't contribute to their romantic connection, the team makes a divine intervention by blowing up the entire theater before they reach it. With the movie date canceled, the two opt to watch a basketball game instead. Meanwhile, God visits his parents' place to present his new project to them, hoping to get some startup funding for it. Upon arrival, he notices that his siblings are also present there. Later, while having their meal, the parents ask their children about their respective planets. In response, God's siblings explain the perfect state of their planets, while God is hesitant to talk about his creation, Earth. Instead, he changes the topic and proceeds to pitch his new project, building a space restaurant with the name Lazy Susan's. The parents are clearly uninterested in this, as they feel that he will waste their money just like he did with Earth. Furthermore, they confront him about the types of living beings that he created on his planet, especially humans with free will. God tries to defend himself, stating that he just wanted to provide freedom and happiness to his people. Later in the day, Sam and Laura arrive at the basketball court for their date, seemingly excited for their long-awaited date. They quickly start to bond over their shared lack of knowledge about basketball. To enhance the romantic atmosphere, the team decides to set a kiss cam on the two of them, hoping that they will kiss each other. Craig is completely against this idea and claims that it's too much intervention and won't work out. When the team refuses to comply, he tries to physically dismantle the computer system. This forces the team to carry him to a closet and lock him inside. After this, they pan the kiss cam on to the pair, leaving them extremely nervous. Soon after, a mascot approaches them, which only intensifies their embarrassment. Seeing this, Eliza reacts quickly and bursts the mascot's appendix, causing him to collapse on the floor. Upon witnessing this, the entire crowd begins to accuse Sam and Laura of killing the mascot, prompting them to leave the scene. Once outside, Sam feels that she's disturbed by the incident and asks if she wants to go home. Laura misunderstands this and thinks that he doesn't want to continue the date any longer. As a result, an argument ensues between the two, causing them to depart angrily. Now that their plan has failed and there's no more time to save Earth, the team gives up and apologizes to Craig, admitting that he was right. On the other hand, God is seen arguing with his parents and siblings about his planet, Earth. At one point, he has a change of heart and decides not to destroy his creation because he is happy with what he's doing. He then returns back to Heaven Incorporation and heads straight to the Department of Answered Prayers. However, there's a problem now. The explosion process can't be reversed, as he was the one to finalize it earlier.